supply and demand trading do not work. I'm sure you've marked a supply or demand level before. You waited for price to touch the level, and once it does, you enter a trade and expect it to bounce. But instead of bouncing, price instead breaks right through, hitting your stop loss. Then you think, supply and demand levels do not work. Now, before you get mad at me in the comments, I also trade supply and demand levels myself. In fact, it's actually one of the core strategies I use that has made me consistent profits after day trading for 7 years. So, how did I manage to be profitable? But most traders who trade the same strategy aren't. The reason most traders fail when trading supply and demand isn't because they're trading it wrong or they don't know how to draw the levels correctly. It's because they're only using one piece of the puzzle. In reality, supply and demand is just one part of a complete trading system. If you want to become a profitable trader and successfully trade supply and demand, you need to apply the rest of the framework that makes these levels actually work. And so, the exact trading system I'm using is called the SLC system, which stands for Structure, Level, Confirmation. And if you only trade supply and demand levels, you're only using the L part of the trading system. But the good news is, it means you've already got one part sorted out. So all you need to do is apply the S and C part, and you will see significant improvements in your trading results. So now, I'm going to show you how to trade the SLC trading system. First, we start with the S part, which stands for structure. So, what is structure? Structure simply means the direction of the market. Now, there are 3 types of market structures: uptrend, ranging, and downtrend. In the SLC trading system, we only trade if the market is in an uptrend or downtrend, which means we don't trade during ranging markets. Now, the reason we must determine the structure early on is because it will determine the direction of our trades. If the structure is in an uptrend, then we only look for long trades. And if the structure is in a downtrend, then we only look for short trades. An analogy for this is like swimming in a river. If the current is moving downstream and you decide to swim against the current, not only will you move slower, but you'll also use more effort trying to fight the momentum. But if you swim with the current, you'll end up moving faster, while also using less effort because you're being helped by the momentum of the river. Identifying the structure of a market is quite simple. In an uptrend structure, you will see price forming higher highs and higher lows. And in a downtrend structure, you will see price forming lower highs and lower lows. So let's look at a real example of this. Here, I'm on the Nasdaq futures chart. First, you want to start by identifying the high time frame structure. In the SLC system, we like to trade on lower time frames, like the 1 to 15-minute chart. But specifically for the structure part, we want to go up to a higher time frame, like the 1-hour chart, and identify its structure there. So let's switch to the 1-hour chart. Here, we can see that price is currently forming an uptrend. It made a clean upward move, then a slight pullback here, and price consolidated for a bit. But eventually, price continued pushing higher and formed new, higher highs. So the current move is clearly an uptrend structure. Now, it's important that you determine the structure based on the latest price movement, because if you zoom out, price was previously forming a downtrend structure, but recently it reversed and started forming an uptrend. So we use the latest price move as our structure. Once the recent structure is identified, we move to the L part in the SLC system, which stands for level. Now, before we continue, if you want to learn more about the SLC trading system and apply it to your trades, I created the free SLC execution blueprint that you can download for free. It's basically a checklist that walks you through the entire structure level confirmation process step by step.